Okay, so there we go. That's the doodly for the project planning and design core strategy. So I hope we can now see this PowerPoint. Somebody open their mic and just shout that that is there.
It's there.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have 27 minutes. We're going to keep these weekly things just small and short to help direct thinking and planning. Nothing complicated, but hopefully it will help all of us. So the plan is with project planning and design, which is the topic that Crane is on at the moment. Other networks, I think, are following, but we will backtrack for the child protection as well with Crane. But we've decided to do this one now because in the current situation, it's very, very difficult to work out what to do and how to plan, and everybody's asking us questions about what we're intending to do. And for those in Uganda, we had another presidential speech last night where he just said nobody serious is thinking of reopening schools at the moment, and that was pretty much it. So so we're looking at project planning and design to help us work through some of these issues, and then we'll run child wellbeing afterwards, after it, and we'll use child wellbeing to then do some fundraising work as well. We've decided to wait with the fundraising thing because until you understand project planning and design, it's hard to do the fundraising. Okay, so this one, core purpose and strategy, has it's the first aim in the project planning and design module, and it has four accountability standards that go with it. So we're just going to whiz through each of those and see what it looks like and give some ideas. Okay. So the first one, sorry, before we do that, these are the resources that we have prepared at this time, and we'll send you this after. So there's we directed you to a background document called Project Cycle Management that's made by Tier Fund, and when you have this PowerPoint, you can just double click on there and it will open for you. And then the doodly we've just watched, there's 3 versions depending which network you're in, and then it has a different logo. And then the little video, so that's not a doodly, that's actually me speaking, giving people an outline of where to start in their thinking about core purpose and strategy. And it's just a thinking point to help prepare for these webinars. So we'll give you a different video every Thursday, and then a 30-minute online every Tuesday afternoon at 3. And then every day we've sent out these standards. So any of those you can click on and you'll see the things that are there. 6 S's every day. There is a standard, scripture, supplication, sport or skill, a safety tip for COVID-19, and my head has just lost what the 6th S is, but Imi or Paul will tell us, or you can find it there. Okay, so for everything we do, there's a little package of things that are available. Now, on the foundation aim. So the foundation aim says we know what changes we want to see in our society and in the lives of children at risk, and we know what our contribution is. So hopefully you can see this, just double check that. There's a little picture about Jane, Jessie and Josh. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Jane, Jessie and Josh. And on the right hand side, you can see there is Jane and Jessie and can we see it?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, great. So we're imagining that Jane is 10 years old. Jessie, okay, well, this was used for something Crane was doing. So in 2015, Jane was 10. That means now she's 15. And in another 5 years, she's going to be 20 and hopefully on her way to university. And then Jessie would now be 5 and Josh will be about 20. So they're people who, children, imaginary children that we're working with. And there's all sorts of things that we might have done in engaging them through the network members, whether they've been helped with schooling or adoption or whatever it is, a sports league or something. And then COVID-19 hits. It shuts everything down. Learning is deteriorating. Some of these children have been abused. And somehow we have to work out what we're going to do. And so the thinking now is, well, where are we going to go for the next 5 years? Now, obviously, all of us are in different situations, so we can't tell each other. But what we would do is just think about those questions. I find it easier to do it that way sometimes, is to think about some imaginary child and think of the life that we would want them to have. So one of the things I encourage you to do is just to do some of that dreaming and that envisioning. Any questions so far? Otherwise, I'm going to skip through these things and then we're going to open it to discussions and questions. Great, let me move on. So one of the things that we have to do is to make sure that we have very, very clear wording. Do we understand exactly what it is that we are offering and the dream that we're suggesting? And there's two examples there. And one of the things I always think is really important is that your key statements must be very, very easy to remember. So there's two examples there. Just read them. Children are safe, well, and fulfilling their God-given potential. Or another way to say it might be children are safe, secure, thriving in God's plan. Okay? So here's the little test. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you're from Crane, you can't tell me the vision that's already there. I want you to read the bottom one. And I'm going to stop sharing so you can't see it. How memorable is this? Children are safe, secure, and thriving in God's plan. Or you can share with us, you can open your mic and share with us another vision statement that you know. And you can say off the top of your head, because that's the test of whether it's a good one or not. While you're thinking, let me share another one. The Directorate of Public Prosecution in Uganda, their vision is for a crime-free Uganda. A crime-free Uganda. Which is like, it's not ever going to happen. So I read it and I was like, why on earth would you have that as a vision? But a vision is that high level. It's very ambitious. And so I get it. That's what they're aiming for. Then their mission begins to explain how they're going to do that. So anybody want to share a vision statement that they know is memorable? Or can just remember that one that we've had on screen?
Children are safe, secure, and thriving in God's plan.
Well done, Vero. Okay. There's something quick and easy to remember there. Anybody got another one before we move on?
I'm also thinking of exactly the same like Vero. I was thinking about the very same vision because I like the rhyme there. It's very, very easy to remember, I think.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Let's continue. Again, as I said, we're just bullet pointing things to help people to think through what they're going to do. So that aim is then broken down into 4 standards. And the first standard says the organization identifies itself as Christian. Now, there are some organizations that have got a bit troubled by that because maybe their vision and their mission is not specifically Christian. But if QIS is being delivered within Viva Partner networks, and the constitution of that says that members are Christian or have some Christian ethos or basis, or at least can share or identify with the values, that's okay. It doesn't have to be that you know, the organization is waving a great big flag, but at least we agree that we're on the same table, we have the same values, and we're working together in a network where we're sharing learning. Okay, the standards have actually been adapted in Latin America and are being used by government departments and government agencies, so it is transferable. But again, what we're very keen to emphasize is that it's a learning journey. We learn together. Okay, the idea is that we share between organizations, between networks, between countries in order to improve. Any questions about that, or we will move on to standard number 2? Okay, standard number 2, all workers know what the organization's mission is. Okay, so here's another little memory test. There's two mission statements on the right-hand side. The first one, lasting change for children is realized through networking, collaborative action amongst Christians and other stakeholders, driven by the values of the Christian faith. What's wrong with that statement? Anything?
I think it's too long.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things. Very long and so wordy.
Yeah. It's Crane's mission statement, and I don't think any of us have been able to memorize it. Okay, so let's try the other one. Connect people, build quality capacity, deliver collaborative action, maximize children's contributions. How's that one?
Much better. Very easy.
Okay, what makes it easy or easier?
I think it's precise. I find it very precise, but also the words are very catchy and easy to remember.
Anything else? What does the word semantics mean? What do we see about the semantics of it?
There are C's there: connect, capacity, collaborate, children's contributions. So they play around with the C's there.
Yeah.
But also, I think the meaning between words there are kind of connected. From when you look at one section and then you go to the next, the word connect and then build and then deliver, kind of there is a connection between the meanings of the words in there.
Okay, right, thank you. So for somebody like me that has a rather poor word memory, I have a good visual memory, a poor word memory, then that's why I have to find, you know, I have to reduce it down to no more than 5 memory points, because I only have 5 fingers and a thumb on one hand. So if you're asking me to remember, okay. And then if I've got all the same letters, or I might have some other acronym or just something that gives me easy memory points. And at any point, an organization can review themselves. Okay. Moving on to standard 3. Right, so standard 3 says the organization has a strategy for fulfilling its mission. Now, designing a strategy is not easy, and it could get very complex, and there are certain tools like SWOT analyses and stakeholder analysis and all these things that the booklet that we pointed you to would take you through. But personally, I don't like all of that stuff. Sometimes it bores me and it doesn't tell me what I actually want to know. So they can be useful, but I like simple questions. So here are 10 of them. What, how, why, who, where, when, how much, another what, so what, and now what. Okay, just give you a moment to look at those. And so whether we have great resources, energy, time to create wonderful strategic frameworks, we can at least answer those questions. Any questions or pointers there? Again, we will go through, as we go through project planning design, we will go into those in more detail. But that, I think, is a 10 question summary of what a strategy would look like. Okay, number 4. Accountability standard 4, the organization's activities help it to fulfill its mission. So we haven't designed our activities yet, but in our core purpose and strategy, what we would be intending to do is that whatever we are going to do has to fulfill the mission, or it could say the vision, actually. So one term that is quite helpful is a direct line of sight. The context where I learned this one was we were being asked about how we were helping children to learn. And we had long explanations about what we do in the community and all sorts of things. And the person said, no, but what is your direct line of sight to learning? So that whatever you're doing, you should be able to say, if I do that, it will lead me directly towards what it is that I'm trying to achieve. So the 2 little pictures there are just an illustration. What do we see in those 2 pictures? Any ideas? Why do you think I've chosen those 2 pictures as illustrations?
And I think you can see from one end to the other, you can see where you're going because it's a straight line. And you even have that yellow line that helps you to just see far there down the road.
Okay. And what's the other one? What's that other picture?
A frog or what? I don't understand what it is.
It's forest. Yeah, it's like you're looking out of a wood or forest, and so you can see beyond this like area that's very dense with trees. So you can see the light on the outside.
Okay. So
Looks like somebody in a cave, and all they could see just what's before them. They don't know what's on the other, on both sides of beyond the confines of the cave, edges of the cave.
So somehow we're in the midst of some unknown, and we can see a light and go towards it, but it's really not clear. Not clear where we are, not clear where we're going. And so what we're saying is that is that the core of what we should be doing just needs clarity, simplicity. Even if sometimes things get complicated, we're really aiming for clarity and simplicity in how we express things. So as you are either developing your plans or supporting others to develop plans, then there's some sort of targets. So, and then when people would go to assess those organizations, they will be looking at those things. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to see a massive, long, complicated strategic plan. I just need to see, have they got a plan that clearly tells them where they're going, and does it look like that plan is going to help them to get there? Okay. So we've got 5 minutes left, deliberately keeping these short so it doesn't consume too much time, but questions, comments, and particularly if we've been supporting members and we're not clear, or the member is just, you don't even know how to help them because it's such a mess. No, we're good. So we're confident to be able to support people or to design our own work. Annette.
Yeah, I was there thinking to myself, and I'm like, yes, we can work with members and probably try to support them. But I was thinking that what if amongst us there is maybe someone who's having a member who might not mention the exact way the things are. Sometimes it might be a little bit challenging to support that person.
Do you mean that maybe they haven't got the right language? Let me go back to that slide. Do you mean something like this?
Not that they don't have the right language, but maybe they won't sometimes reveal the exact issues at hand that may need to be addressed.
Okay. So I think part of the purpose of going through the module is that by the end of it, they will have greater clarity. So, so it should help them to, they should be reviewing. So it's more than them just saying, yes, 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 I've already done it. It's actually in the process of you trying to support them. I would imagine that even just being able to say, ask sort of open-ended questions. Things like, for example, one of the standards is asking whether people can recite it. All workers know what the organization's mission is. So if it's not clear to you, I wouldn't say, well, I don't understand that. I would say, okay, so Is that clear? And are your staff able to recite that? And within it, there's the option to be able to talk to staff and children as well, and ask them, you know, what do you think that this organisation is doing? What do you think it should do? So it's for us to just ask some open-ended questions, not to do the work for them, but some open-ended questions that will help them to see that they can review and enhance and improve what they're doing. And I mean, this mission statement is a very good example where, you know, if in a dozen years nobody can recite that sentence, then it's time to let it go and to create something that's easier for people to understand. Anything else? Otherwise, we are going to finish on time, and we will send out the slides through email to, we've got, I think, 3 networks are online here. So we're in Tanzania, South Africa, and Uganda at the moment, unless I'm not seeing Zambia and Zimbabwe. All right, well, I hope that's helpful, and for members as well who have joined us, you're very welcome. We hope that that's a little guide for you. Hope that that's helpful, and do please go to your staff connection, and they will help you, and if they're stuck, they'll ask Imi or Paul have the answer for everything. Don't ask me, I have no idea. Okay? Thank you very much for coming, and we will see you next week.